this is a very serious subject, sensitive to many, and that's the subject of infidelity. When someone is not faithful in a relationship, I can ask the question on both sides, how a woman would feel if her male mate were to cheat, or conversely, if the male had a woman or wife that cheated, how he would feel, or just couples in general, same sex couples or what have you, how would you feel if your mate cheated on you? In this particular installment, I'm asking guys, should a man forgive his woman, his wife, his spouse for cheating on him? Should he? Well, that is an interesting question. What is cheating? I think most of us know what cheating is. Cheating is not just simply a text message that occurs in the wee hours of the night, early mornings, or just flirtatious gestures and even words on the job. But when you take it a step further and you start to meet up with the other person, and then you eventually begin to have physical contact or sex. And I'm talking about men having their woman cheat on them. Should you forgive them? And I did say a moment ago that this is a very serious and sensitive subject, and it is. I've experienced infidelity. I was not the perpetrator of that act, I will say that. So I know this firsthand. But I want to take it from the standpoint of a good man in this particular installment. If you are a good man, and people can give their take and their perspectives of what good is, but I think we understand right and wrong. But if you're a good man, a provider, a loving father, loving husband or spouse, and you don't abuse your spouse or your partner, and it's been that way since the beginning of your relationship, and then the young lady seeks company, attention elsewhere at some point in time within the relationship, and then she ultimately has sex with someone. Of course, that's cheating. But it had to be something that led up to that. It wasn't, in most instances, just an instant. It had to have been some initial conversations and meetings, phone calls and text messages and things of this sort before they even became physical. So, some might say, well, if she did it one time, you could forgive her and erase it. But if she did it several times, that's different. Should you leave them? My take on that is this. If you are a good man, or if you were a good man, depending on if it's already occurred, and your spouse at the time built a relationship with another man while she was in a relationship with you, and she was doing all of the aforementioned text messages and coming home at various hours of the day and or night and not answering her phone, and you stumbled upon some incriminating evidence and things of this sort, and there was some meeting rendezvous and stuff with this other person, and you come to find out, I'm not talking about you speculating, I'm talking about things that you actually knew occurred. As difficult as it may be, you should forgive her and let her go. She doesn't exist in your life anymore as a companion. That's me. Now, because of history that you have with one another, it's going to be some resentment, some anger, and maybe even hate. But you should still, at some point in time, and it's different for all of us, you're still going to have to forgive that person, because you cannot carry that anger, that resentment in your heart forever, because it's going to destroy you internally. It will. I've been there. I have been there. And as I'm sitting here talking to you as a man, to all of you all, men and women alike, as I'm sitting here talking to you, it's even difficult for me to talk about this subject, because I was hurt so bad. Being that man, that ideal guy, that guy who had principles and standards, and the lady wanted to go and experience partying, that kind of life, and smoking, and getting high and getting drunk and things like this. I experienced this myself. And then they want to try to flip the script on you and try to make it seem as though that you're this bad individual, this bad father. And then they turn their family against you, who was never turned against you in the first place, but they sided with her. Have you ever experienced this before? They side with her. But if we could just paint the real picture as it really was, we would expose her and she would look really, really bad. But we won't do that, okay? And you shouldn't do that. But as I said a moment ago, it's difficult. It's very difficult, especially when you have children involved. It hurts. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, there are great men. There are very, very good, upstanding, decent men out here in society. All men are not dogs. Sometimes men are the victims. It was that case with me. And I'm sure some of you all have experienced that. And I'm not talking about the men out there who wants to play the women and jump from bed to bed to bed to bed, and go out on the town trying to find all of these women that he can try to corral up and see how many he can sleep with. I'm not talking about that man. I'm talking about a good, upstanding man. A man who has a good rapport. A very respected man. Not your version of respected, but someone who actually is respected. So, should you forgive the woman? Is the question again. Yes, you should. Doesn't mean that it's not going to be some damage control that's going to have to be done. You're going to have to try to re-heal the heart that was broken. You're going to go through that. And that process, as I said a moment ago, is going to be different from person to person. It could take a couple months with someone. It could take a couple years with someone else. And it could take several years with someone else. But nevertheless, you've got to heal. And you've got to move on with your life, guys. And I'm talking about the men right now. Even though the principles are still the same. So, forgive the woman. But let her go. She's not good for you. It's one thing for a woman to have a sexual relationship with a guy once, but for that same woman or a woman to plan things out over a long period of time, and it's ongoing, and she's having meetings, she's having dates, she's meeting him at a bar, at a club, at a dining room somewhere, or a restaurant, or going out of town and booking hotels together with this person, or making it seem as though that she's going over a family member's house, but she's going somewhere else with this guy, and they're having all of these conversations going on with one another. There's a difference. That woman who has had this ongoing thing with a man, you definitely have to leave that woman alone. Period. Because that woman there is dangerous. And that woman there, if she did that to you, if you allow her to come back, she'll do it again. And if that woman did that to you, she'll do it to the next man and the next man. Because she's for the streets, as they say. She's out for the streets. She's not good for you. She's not worthy of a good man. She's worthy of someone, and worthy is really not the word, but she's only good for the person, for the man that's just like her. Some scum off the street. Some poor lowlife. That's who she needs to be with. And God help you if you have children involved. Be there for your child. Be there for your children, men. Regardless of what happened with you and her. But hopefully that is a lesson learned. And that you don't venture off in that direction again. And that you will be able to see more clearly in how to choose your future mates. This is wisdom from someone who knows. And this is Brother Teacher. If you have any questions that you would like me to address on any particular subject, please leave it in the comment section below, and try to stay on topic. If you would, if I have a video on a specific subject, try to address that subject. But I have no problem with you asking me to talk about something in particular, and I'll try to get with that subject if I haven't already done it, or I'll direct you to one of my earlier videos. Alright, so until then, enjoy the rest of your evening and or your day wherever you may be, and thank you to all of my followers from Africa, from Asia, from Ireland, and from the United Kingdom and so forth. I love you, and I appreciate all of you all. Stay safe. Take care.